This is arguably one of the most important dreams or visions that God sent to St. John Bosco because it talks about the power of the Holy Rosary. And I think that after watching this video, you'll be encouraged to pray it every single day. You're watching The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of American Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. St. John Bosco relates, "I want to recount a dream I had a few nights ago about a snake and a rosary. I dreamt I was with all my boys in Castelnuovo at my brother's house. While they were all at play, a stranger invited me to accompany him. I followed him to a meadow adjoining the courtyard. He pointed out a snake over 20 feet long that was in the grass. I was horrified at such a sight and wanted to run away. 'No, don't run away,' he said. 'Come and see.' I answered, 'Do you want me to approach that beast? Don't you know that it can attack and devour me in an instant?' 'Have no fear,' he said. 'It will do you no harm. Come with me.' 'I'm not so crazy as to go and throw myself into such danger.' 'Then wait here.' He got a rope and returned to me and said, 'Take this rope by one end and hold it tightly. I'll take the other and go to the opposite side, and we'll suspend the rope over the snake.' 'Then what?' I asked. 'Then we'll let it fall and snap it on its back. If we do that, the snake will strike us and tear us to pieces.' 'No, leave it to me,' he said. I feared that this would cost me my life, and I wanted to run away, but that fellow insisted again, assuring me that I had nothing to fear and that the snake would do me no harm. He reassured me, and I stayed and consented to do his will. He went to the other side of the monster, raised the rope, and snapped it on the snake's back. The snake leaped by turning its head back to bite what had hit it, but instead of biting the rope, it remained fastened by it as if in a noose. Then the man cried to me, 'Hold fast, don't let the rope slip.' So he tied his end of the rope to a pear tree and then took my end of the rope and tied it to a railing of the window of the house. In the meantime, the snake wriggled and struggled furiously, so much so that it tore itself to pieces. The snake died, leaving only his skeleton. The man untied the rope from the tree in the window and then said, 'Watch carefully.' He put the rope in a box and closed the lid. After a few moments, he opened the box. Several young men rushed around me to see what had occurred. We looked inside it and were all amazed. The rope had arranged itself perfectly to form the words, 'Hail Mary.' I said, 'How did that happen? You threw that rope in there so haphazardly, and now it's just so neatly arranged?' 'The snake is a symbol of the devil,' he replied, 'and the rope is a symbol of the Hail Mary, or rather, the Rosary, which is a continuation of the Hail Mary, with which one can beat, overcome, and destroy all the demons of hell.' Don Bosco concluded, 'This was the first part of the dream. Now I will tell you the second part, but not all of it. I'll tell you as much as possible. But first, I must make you promise one condition, namely that no one should write or say what I shall relate outside of this house.' So while that person and I were talking about the rope, the snake, and their meanings, I turned back and saw some young men picking up pieces of the snake and eating it. I cried out immediately, 'What are you doing, you fools? Don't you know that this snake meat is poisonous and will do you much harm?' 'No,' the young men answered, 'it's good.' Meanwhile, those that had eaten fell to the ground. They were all swelled up and remained hard as stone. I was shouting at one and then another, slapping this one, punching that one, trying to stop them from eating, but to no avail. One would fall here, and then another would start eating. Then I called the clerics to help me and told them that they should stand amid those young men and make every effort so that no one would eat any more of that meat. My order did not achieve the desired effect. Some of the clerics themselves took to eating the serpent's flesh and fell. I was beside myself when I saw a large number of young men lying on the ground in that miserable state. I then turned to that stranger and asked him, "What does this mean? These young people know that the flesh brings them death, yet they want to eat it. Why?" He answered, "You know well that the sensual man does not perceive the things of God. But is there no remedy to save these young men?" "Yes, there is. And what's that?" "There is nothing but the hammer and the anvil." I looked at him with horror and said, "Use the anvil and the hammer? What should I do with such things?" He said, "It's necessary to subject young people to the actions of these instruments." "How do I do that? Shall I put them on an anvil and then beat them with a hammer?" Then, explaining his thought, he said, "The hammer represents confession, of course. The anvil, Holy Communion. One must make use of these two means." So I went to work and found this remedy most beneficial, but not for everyone. Many came back to life and were cured, but the remedy was useless for some. These were those who were not making good confessions. Privately, Don Bosco was asked why the clerics did not prevent the young men from eating the snake's flesh. He answered, "All did not obey me. I saw clerics eating that meat." These dreams represent the reality of life, and with the words and deeds of Don Bosco, they manifest the intimate state of many communities, where, amid precious virtues, one sadly finds not a few miseries. This should come as no surprise, since vice, by its nature, multiplies far more than virtue, hence the need for constant vigilance. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you'd like to see a playlist of all the different dreams of St. John Bosco that we've done on this channel, please click on the link I've put on the screen. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you. Wake up. Yes, time to get up.